carbon dust, fluorescent rays. Placed him in a garden plush after 7 days of parsing.
Blood and flesh is always so expensive, but when you sacrifice the body, you can get this. Consciousness expense is exponential, while your union is eternal and intensive. Butterfly effect is so connected. You see that I'm a wreck, are you affected? Your energy is here, you're so detected. Your body's gone, it hurts, but I accept it. Bow to all the angels of the sky, and I bow to that one spirit by my side. I bow to the unfathomable Most High. Now if I speak the name, I'd be a lie. Think of all the ones they say moved on. I'd be a fool to think that they are gone. Should be a rule for us to say that they live on. Think it's rude for us to ignore them when they're gone. Thought I saw you in a shadow on the wall. Is that you? I see you standing down the hall. If I could turn back time, I would and make it stall. Help me focus, hold me up, don't let me fall. You are with me. You are with me. Couldn't leave you if I wanted to. Can't you see? Peace. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Peace to the brother. You know what? Hashtag watching the world 777, also known as Mel Smith. Peace to our brother. Yes, you are on the sa.neter Studios Black News 102 channel. You're also on the Rise channel, which is a part of the HOK House of Consciousness Network. We are going to have a wonderful social show, so please hit the like button. Please subscribe, sit down, get your coffee, tea, whatever you need to, because you do not want to miss this. And if you do miss it, you'll get on the playback. But you do not want to miss this recap. We have an unofficial correspondent, our brother Mel, who is in the center of all the information. He's right in the courtroom. He's going to give us an entire recap on the Diddy trial from start to what's going on as of the last court date, which was what, Friday?
Yes, Friday.
Friday.
Yes, Friday.
Mel, come on in, introduce yourself, of course, to the audience. Tell them where they can also find your channel, and we will get started just getting the information from you.
All right, very good. My name is Mel. I've been around sa.neter's channel for many, many years. I love it. It's great. And my message today about the trial, I'm going to tailor information that I haven't really shared with any other channel, because I know the background of this channel and how it affects our community at large. So today I'm going to give you how they chose the selection of the jury and how they tailored it. Here's an example, right? The first week of the trial, they brought in Diddy. Number one, he looked like he was just straight out of a cage, in which, that is his reality.
Wow.
But
what do you mean? Was he not shaven, or give us a little bit more details?
No, he was just depressed. You could tell he was terrified. He was scared. Now you have a different Diddy that's fighting, and he's fighting hard, especially under cross-examination, because a lot of the witnesses, like we heard Mia on Thursday, and she came in, and I often tell people, a lot of people probably seen, what is his name, that played Ray Charles, Jamie Foxx, and he's kind of fumbling over his words, right? So that's how she gave her testimony. She had her head down. She's fumbling over her words. The next day, we get a completely different person when they ask her to read her emails that she had sent to Diddy. And then she comes out, I love Diddy. Like this is the same woman we had yesterday.
Wow. So, wait, she actually, hold on, Mel. So she said that in the emails, or did she say that actually on the stand?
All of her, she was reading her email, but all of her correspondence while she was working for Diddy and after he terminated her, she always say she loved Diddy, she loved Diddy. So I'm going to break that down as I move through from the beginning of the trial to the end, but I'm showing that all of these witnesses, they fall apart under cross-examination, especially with Brian Steele.
Wow. Okay, Brian Steele. For those, Mel is totally immersed in this. We're catching up. For those who have not been following the trial, Brian Steele is Diddy's lead attorney. But I want you to get back to letting the people also know, who is Mia. Give us a bit of background of just how she knows Diddy.
Okay, so Mia was the employee of Diddy. However, we don't know her identity because let me tell you, she's the first witness that has come into the courtroom, and the judge has told the artist, you cannot draw her. The judge has also said, if we catch you guys trying to draw a picture of her or write down her way she looks or what have you, we're going to kick you out. And also you're going to be reprimanded. But the guy sitting next to me on Friday, he had his head down toward his lap and he was just taking notes. And they came in, they pulled him out of court. They took his notepad, but they ended up giving it back to him. He was just writing that way. But that's how crazy it is about Mia and not finding out her identity. So they've been really trying to prevent us from knowing. However, this is something you might want to know. That night, Thursday, she gave her testimony. She cried all day. And I've been in the courtroom every day of this trial. I'm one of the rare people that has been in the courtroom every day. Okay. It's very hard to get in, but this is something that I've committed myself to on my own dime. I want to cover this case. Every day Diddy walks in, he says hi to a few of us that he recognized the faces or whatnot. But at any rate, this particular Mia person, she worked for Diddy for so many years. And she's the first one that has come in and described how she was, as an employee, she was assaulted or violated. You can use your imagination for the word.
We know we call it great, but it's SA. You can say SA.
Okay, I want to say violate. I want to keep
violated,
it light.
But everybody knows when he says violated, he is talking about in a sexual way. So
right. So she breaks it down. So imagine you're sitting in court. There was a witness by the name of Nash. His last name is Nash. He gave his testimony, but for about 6 hours on Thursday, she just recanted about how she was beaten. And here's the problem with this case. And then I'm going to go back to the beginning, but I'm just going to say this part. You have the guy, Nash, that was Cassie's stylist. He gets on the stand. He talks about how on Cassie's birthday, her 29th birthday, she wants to go party. Diddy say, no, you're going to go do a freak off.
Oh,
and so he's harassing her to do a freak off on her birthday. The stylist, Nash, in his own mind, he thinks he's the prima donna. He comes across as real, whatever. You get my
flamboyant.
Joke. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. You're so brilliant. Okay, great. Flamboyant. That's a good word to use. I'm gonna keep that word.
Keep that word, brother.
So at any rate, Diddy comes in the house one day beating Cassie. He jumps on Diddy's back. Diddy throws this little guy, boom, against the floor. Mia, she jumps on Diddy's back. Diddy throw her against the wall. Boom.
Wow.
Diddy picks up Cassie, and he has this big bed with a wooden frame. And he throws her down, and she gets a big gash right here in her eyebrow. And so this case is about a lot of beating. And I know when they did the opening arguments, they said from the defense standpoint, basically this case is about domestic violence, and we're going to own that Diddy does drugs, right? And that he's a violent nature type of person, right? We're going to own all that. He's just not a part of the RICO. So this is the picture they're painting. But here's the problem with the case. Diddy's beating the chef. He's beating Mia. He's beating the little flamboyant guy. Flamboyant guy,
Nash.
Right?
That's
Nash.
3.
He's beating all sorts of people in this case. Cassie's getting beaten. Kid Cudi comes into court, and everybody's turned around. Can't wait to see Kid Cudi. Even Diddy. This is the only time because Diddy sits right in front of me. The only time I seen him turn around is when Kid Cudi was coming into court. He didn't even turn around for Cassie. And Cassie's mother tried to give him all the smoke when she left the stage. She was walking out of court, giving him like a mean mug, slow walking. They had to kind of like get her out of there because she was ready to bring him the heat.
Mel, hold on, brother. Whoo, you're smoking.
All right, I'm gonna cool it down a little bit.
Wow, no, I got to ask you because now, not ask you. I got to let the people know. Kid Cudi is Cassie's former lover, so that's why and there's a story about that. If you could just briefly go into why he's so relevant in the case.
Okay, so I'll break down Kid Cudi. Diddy, which is a pattern in this case, right? Diddy takes Cassie to Kid Cudi, produce an album. She probably starts talking about how Diddy's beating her and everything else. He's cheating, right? Kid Cudi, he gets the impression because it came out in court that Cassie played Kid Cudi and she played Diddy.
Wow.
Kid Cudi was under the impression that her and Diddy had broke up, right? So he started seeing her. Diddy found out about it, and he has an employee named Capricorn Clark. You've been hearing about her in the media. She's all over the place. Yeah. She tells some deep-seated stories as well, right? But anyway, when Diddy found out about Cassie cheating with Kid Cudi, he goes to Capricorn's house 5:30 in the morning. He has a gun. Wow. And he's banging on her door. You get the impression it's such a heavy bang that the gun might be hitting the door, right?
Yes.
This is for the imagination. So she opens, she looks through the keyhole, she sees Diddy, but also under cross-examination, she sees Diddy and another man. It's her story is not holding together. But anyway, let's stay with the direct testimony. Right. She opens the door.
Just wanted to get that background in Kid Cudi, though.
Right. So she opens the door, and Diddy says, "She's cheating with Kid Cudi. Get your stuff on. Let's go. I'm gonna kill this nigga."
Wow. Sounds like Diddy's way be acting in the public. I'm just gonna say.
So he let her go, put her clothes on. They got in the car. They said that Diddy had Rue with him, right? Rue was the nephew, I believe, of Paulie, I believe, or D-Rock. One of their
so he had somebody with him.
Yeah, right. So anyway, they go to the house. She's in the car. Diddy and Rue go into Kid Cudi's house. They break in this house allegedly, right?
Wow.
Kid Cudi is with Cassie at a hotel, and this is all out in LA, right?
Wow.
So Capricorn Clark, she's in the car, and Diddy and the other guys in the house. She calls Laura London, and she tells her what's happening. She also calls Cassie and says, "Listen, Diddy is inside Kid Cudi's house with Rue." And then Kid Cudi's on speaker, so he hears what's happening. He was like, "This nigga in my house," and so he calls Diddy directly and said, "Yo, where you in my house, nigga?" And Diddy's like, they never said that Diddy said, "Yeah, I'm in the house." They never touched on that. But at any rate, Kid Cudi rushes to the scene. Capricorn, they give an impression that Kid Cudi comes up the mountain. It's up a hill. You can hear the steam.
And this is in LA. This is in LA.
All in LA.
Okay.
And there's a chase that happens, and there's no outlet up the hill. So they said they chased him. Diddy chase Kid Cudi around, and
what? This sounds like a movie.
He lost him, right? Okay, so all that came out. She paints a picture that she's being kidnapped, right?
Who paints a picture?
Capricorn, the one that's in the car. She's painting a picture that she's kidnapped at gunpoint. Diddy made her go to the house. Wow. So now we have the police officer, and I'm going to give you a rendition of how that went. So
now we're going back to
the same event, but now the police is showing up.
And whose testimony is this on the stand?
This is Capricorn's.
Capricorn's, got it. Okay, brother.
Because she's the one that Diddy came to her house because she's in the middle of this whole cheating with Kid Cudi and Cassie. Capricorn is the one in the middle of it. She knows about it. She's the one that told Cassie get a burner phone because we're texting about Kid Cudi and Diddy's paying for both phones. He's also paying for their apartments, their staff homes.
Wow, he controls everything.
And he's paying for Cassie's Jaguar. right?
Oh my God.
So he's controlling the whole show. So
Yeah.
it came out in court that Capricorn seemed kind of sneaky because she told Cassie to go buy a burner phone. They said, well, how do you know about a burner phone? You see what I'm saying? So that came out in court. But at any rate, so we have this scene that's taking place at the house. When the police get to the scene, right, there's a black SUV Escalade in front of Kid Cudi's door that's pulling off. And so the prosecutor asked the police, they say, well, did you stop the car? They say, no, there was no crime that has been committed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we get there, they painted a picture in court about how dispatch work. And so if it's a burglary, if it's a shots fired, if it's a kidnapping, the dispatch agent will frame that to the police officer that's responding, and it also determines who responds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the police officer got the call, they pull up, the Escalade is pulling off. They said that one of the officers, the second officer, jumps over Kid Cudi's fence and comes around, open the gate. They go to his house, the door is unlocked. They go inside and they see that there's some luxury bags on the counter. Nothing's really stolen.
Right.
And so then two other detectives come to the scene and they search the entire place. They're looking for a human or people on the premises.
Yeah.
They did not find anybody. They say when they came back out the door, that black Escalade was going down the mountain. And so again, they say, well, why didn't you stop this black vehicle if you have this report? Now, they said they did not stop the vehicle because they found no crime. Okay.
Then why did they jump over the fence and stuff?
It's really weird, but it gets it much, much weirder as I tell the story. So at any rate, the police officer said he ran the plates and it came back to Bad Boy Entertainment. So now they know it's Diddy. At this time, Kid Cudi is coming back home, right? Now.
Coming back home with Cassie or by himself?
They didn't say. They didn't put Cassie with him on the premises, but he did come back and he told them who the suspect was in this whole event.
Okay.
So now this is the interesting part. The police officers, they proceed to do now when Kid Cudi gave his testimony, he said that he only had problems in his life when he started messing with Cassie. Because I mean, he looked like a real peaceful cornball type of guy, you know what I mean?
And he's like a producer. He's a music producer.
He don't seem like a trouble guy. And he said after he cheated or whatever they had going on with Cassie, his life went back to normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The police officer brought out that Kid Cudi had already had a woman break into his home before. So what is he, so prior to this event, some woman had broken into his home. And so he provided the fingerprints from whoever that was that broke into his home previously. And now this time they're collecting fingerprints and so forth for this occurrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then arson happens a couple of days later.
Okay.
A couple of days later.
Car?
This is the car. This is the car that's being set on fire. Okay.
Tell us what's the background on that.
So it's all of this first occurrence is happening in December of 2011.
Okay.
January hits. Somebody sets Kid Cudi's car on fire. The police officer or the arson investigator that responded to the scene, he said that whoever committed this crime, it was a targeted crime because he says that the black Porsche, the same one that Kid Cudi was driving that day up the mountain and all this stuff, it was sitting right by Kid Cudi's garage. And then there was two cars behind it. So you couldn't see the car from the road. Someone went in and they cut open the canvas top, drop down top of his Porsche. And they dropped a Molotov cocktail down the top. Now, it was a 40-ounce Old English bottle filled with gasoline. It had a silk, like a nan brain silk handkerchief in the top that they set afire. And they also left the lighter. So we had the bottle, we had the lighter, we had the handkerchief. It all dropped inside of the vehicle. But the way it fell, the handkerchief came out too fast, so it didn't cause the explosion
Explosion.
that it should have. It just set the car on fire, predominantly burning the ceiling, the seat, the side door. By the bottle fell where Kid Cudi would sit, his left side in the car. All the liquid fell in that corner, and that's where predominantly the fire it
Mm-hmm.
was. And they said that on the bottle it was a woman's DNA, not a man. So they never tied this down to Diddy tight. The only way they have it tied to Diddy is because Diddy is involved in this whole situation.
And Mel, didn't he mention that to Capricorn that he was going to do that or something like that?
He mentioned to Cassie.
To Cassie.
It came out of Cassie. He told Cassie, "I want to blow this car up in front of his friends." So
Yeah.
Cassie said that.
Yes.
So that showed premeditation. So if you really, by me being at the trial every day, hearing all the testimonies and everything, I'm able to connect the pieces together, and it's quite amazing to see this come together.
Well, Mel, let me ask you. It's amazing, and you are like a treasure chest full of first account information. So I appreciate you so much. Everyone, please, you see his channel in the chat. Please go subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and follow him. He does other information. This isn't his first rodeo, so to speak. But I will say, Mel, I want to ask you, okay, you gave us that account, so that was a big deal. What testimonies stand out since you've been in the court every day since the trial started? Which testimonies really stand out as negatively impacting Diddy? I'm going to start with the negative, then I'm going to ask you about, the positive side for him, not for us. But what testimonies really do you think really hurt him?
Yeah, most people would say Cassie, but it wasn't. It was Capricorn. It was Capricorn Clark, the one I just spoke about. She tells another story about how she was kidnapped the first time.
Okay, tell us what day. What was this? The first part of the trial? I kind of want you to give people like chronologically. Okay. When did go into detailing that? But when did this come out?
Okay, this came out, I believe, Friday before last. It ended the week, and I think she started back with her testimony on Monday.
Okay.
But she talks about number one, she used to work for Suge Knight, and somehow she actually was an intern at Def Jam. She worked for Suge Knight. Then she went to work for Diddy. And what's crazy is that you wouldn't believe it, but some of these women like her got their job by going on Craigslist and finding a bad boy ad. Like how does that happen, right? You wouldn't think you get your job for bad boy off Craigslist, right? Also, the sex workers came off of Craigslist and Backpage.
I believe that.
Like you would think he would be using I don't know, whatever. Okay. So basically, she tells this story about Diddy takes her to Central Park, and they said they saw Nas and Khalees there that day. So that tells you how long ago it was. She says that Diddy basically had a big guy there named Uncle Paulie. He wore sunshades 100% of the time. He's standing in the background being very stoic. Now, remember this, the government is trying to prove that Diddy is all about intimidation and he's running a criminal enterprise, right?
Right.
Okay, so Diddy tells her basically, if we find out you're dealing with Suge Knight, we're going to kill you. So now we
say that again. Say on the live, though.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay, sorry, go ahead.
If we find out that you're dealing with Suge Knight, we're going to unalive you.
Who did they say that to?
They said that to Capricorn Clark.
Because she was a previous employee
of Suge Knight.
Okay, continue. Got it.
Okay, so that was that case. So some time go by, and she has to fly to Miami. There's a big event for Diddy. Diddy borrows from Jacob the Jeweler. Remember when they were real hot back in the day?
Yeah, Jacob the Jeweler. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so he had a Jesus piece necklace. He had a bracelet and a watch, right?
Okay.
She's going through the airport. She discovers that it went missing. So she immediately calls back to 1440 Broadway. That was the corporate office, and told them to lock everybody down. So they locked down all the employees. They searched for the 3 pieces. They couldn't find it. So now Diddy's security guard, I believe Uncle Paulie, comes after her. and he takes her to her apartment, which she lives in Queens with her roommate, and he searches and go through their whole apartment, right? Didn't find no jewelry at all. So then the next day, he says, this is not over. He comes back the next day, he gets her, he takes her to this corporate building. At the time, Bad Boy had a corporate office, but they were getting a new one, and the new one was under construction. So she said they took her to this building that seemed to be abandoned, right? They locked the doors behind her from the outside.
This is only Uncle Paulie or Diddy with him?
No, just Uncle Paulie.
Got it.
Diddy's not in sight. Now, this is
Okay,
why I'm
this
telling
is her
you.
testimony. This is her
So
testimony.
so this turns into a movie. Let me explain.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Go ahead.
They take her up. It's amazing. I remember all this. They take her up to the sixth floor, right? She says the elevator opens up. She sees this fat man, about 5 times her size, sitting at a table, a folding table with folding chairs, and he's train smoking one after the other. And he says to her, he says, we're going to do a lie detector test. And if you fail B, we're going to throw your A in the East River. And she said she was petrified. Yeah, she was petrified. So now it's like a movie, right? You know, I went to Trump trial. It was so boring in there, and I didn't understand half of the stuff that was going on half the time. This trial is like a movie. You know, even what I just told you
probably
about,
make a movie out of it, right?
Yeah, even what I told you about Kid Cudi, right? It's almost like a movie coming to your house with a gun. It gets to be crazy, right? So anyway,
this is crazy.
He hooks her up. She shows, she does like this. She hooks her up to the machine.
But wait, Mel, I'm sorry. I love it. But I gotta. How was she? Did you think she was telling the truth? Was she crying? Was she
telling the truth? Listen, I'm pretty good at checking people out. She's telling the truth. I'm gonna say she was solid from what I saw. She was crying, but very. I mean, you know, she has ulterior motives like everybody else probably, but
you could tell that there was
this is different. She was on point. She wasn't making this up.
Okay, so they hook her up.
At least that's just my opinion.
I just wanted to hear that from you. So they hook her up.
Her arms or what have you, and he started to administer this lie detector test, right? And she said that the first one was inconclusive.
Oh,
God.
God.
You know what he told her?
Oh.
He was like, B, you need to calm down, because if you don't calm down, you're gonna end up in the East River.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
So she's sitting there trying to prove herself.
This is crazy.
And guess what? It gets better. It goes on for 5 days. 5 days straight. Monday through Friday.
What? Wait, Mel, hold on.
Yeah.
She was in that building with them for 5 days.
He would take her home, bring her back the next morning, and give her more lie detector tests. They never found that she did anything wrong. On Monday, she went back to work. She went back to work on Monday, and guess what? Did they act like nothing ever happened? Never mentioned it to her.
I'm getting emotional for her. You mean to tell me that she endured, must have been a regular thing that everybody knew about him, just that torment and that terror.
You know what she was saying though? And what really got to me, and I kind of felt like this lady's telling the truth. She said, I was just I didn't want to call it, because the prosecutor was like, well, why didn't you tell the police? You know? I was just trying to prove myself that I didn't steal from him, you know? Every day I was trying to beat this test. So I was like, this is not a person that's lying, you know what I'm saying? It was just too detailed, just for my blood to just write her off as a liar. Now,
but Mel, can you see the mental, that's illogical though. She would rather let her life be in danger just to prove something to him. He programmed them so much to be like his slaves, right?
Yeah, they brought in the psychologists, and they really broke down why women that are being abused by low-life men tend to want to stay in the situation or what have you. So that, you know, they painted that picture for the jurors. So it's that's the most powerful, you know, story that I've heard so far. Because
you know what, I stopped you from saying something. I'm sorry, when I talked about this, you were going to say something about, she said, I just want to prove it to him that I'm innocent, and then he went about it like nothing ever happened when she went to work.
Yeah, like nothing ever happened, and she just went on with her career, and there was no more mention about it. And they never. And the thing about this case, they don't close the gap and tell you what happened with the jury. So everybody's sitting there like, who did it? They just move on from the story.
So okay, that's one of the damaging. What were the jurors doing? Did you take a look at them when she was telling that story? What did you think?
They were sitting at the movies.
I mean, were they? Did they look like
they were like they were at a movie? That's what they were doing. They were all intent. And I had a body language expert that was sitting with me, and I kind of, she's going to be coming on the channel. I could probably bring her on too.
I would love to have her here.
But anyway, she was talking about how they look at the juror. I mean, they look at the witness. They look at Diddy. They look at the witness. That shows you that they're believing the story because they want to see Diddy's reaction. They're trying to gauge him to the stories that's being told.
What was his reaction?
And during that story, Diddy was suppressed, so that kind of gives you the idea that he.
What do you mean suppressed?
He's withdrawn. He's down.
He had his head down, or was it
head down, shoulder slump? Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, it was nice to hear that, but she gave a good point that maybe, hopefully you don't get in trouble. But she was saying usually when you're in a trial, you have to block out the jurors because they're always trying to read your expressions. And you don't want to give them any type of interpretation. Just mind your business and sit there because the way you look at the jurors can determine your fate. So Diddy is very active. He's active with the jurors. I think Diddy's personality, I think many of us have just observed over the years. He's very active in his life. So he thinks he can probably have some influence in the courtroom or what have you.
Yeah.
I do notice some jurors are definitely on Diddy's. They appear to be in favor of Diddy.
I wanted you to talk on that. So it's like you read my mind. You had told me before that some of the jurors look like they're a little smitten by him.
Yeah. There's about 4 that are, I would say, that they could sway this thing. Now, I want to make it clear. The government is proving a case. Like if it was myself, sa.neter, somebody, one day alone, you're going to jail. Just one day of evidence, right? That's how bad it is. You get one day, you get arson, you get burglary, but the police only on the police report it was trespassing. So we got to be clear and tell the truth. The media is not telling the truth. It was trespassing. But even still, they started the first day of trial. They show you the video, CNN. The girl's actually at a freak off. She's trying to leave early because Diddy had just given her allegedly a black eye.
Were we talking about Mia again?
I'm sorry. We're going back to the first day to Cassie. I'm sorry.
Cassie, got it.
Okay. So in the video, Cassie's trying to get away. She's leaving a freak off with a guy in the room. He's sitting on the bed. On the first day, the security officer that you see in that video, he comes out of the elevator. He says that when he goes to the room, he sees a black male sitting on the bed. Okay, a sex worker, right? Sitting on the bed. He was a black male too. But at any rate,
tell us the background of that, Mel. What was the background of how she got out?
So that's what I'm saying. So,
I'm sorry.
So the guy sitting on the bed, Diddy hit Cassie in the eye. He goes to the bathroom to take a shower or whatever. He got distracted. She grabs her 2 bags. Her shoes are inside the bag. She run down the hall. You see her reaching in the video. You see her reaching in the bag for her shoes. Diddy comes down the hall. He's hitting her or whatever, trying to drag her back to a freak off. You remember in the media, we heard that this was like a lover spat. Now, what the defense is trying to argue is that she grabbed his phone and she was running with it. Because in the video, after he's beating her and you see him throw the vase or whatever, you see him with a phone in his hand going back to the room. They're trying to paint the picture that this was his phone and he was retrieving it, and that's why he was mad. But according to Cassie, she was just trying to get away from the freak off. He's beating her. Now, count number 2 is sex trafficking with force, fraud, and coercion. So the force part is beating her, trying to drag her back to us. Like, how you gonna get around that? Like,
wow.
How can you get around that? I'm asking you. Okay, the first day,
you can't get around it.
A sex worker named David Phillips. He was hired from Cowboys and Angels in New York City, right?
Okay, and is that
And
Diddy's one of his favorites? Because I
he's
heard that before.
he was supposed to be getting paid 200. He was hired $200 to come and dance for some females. He said he got there, and Cassie was mind blowing. She was so beautiful.
He would have
But
done it for free.
he walked in the room. He was like, "Well, where the females at?" You know what I'm just. It wasn't what he was expecting. And
Very,
he
very
says,
cool.
Diddy comes in the room. I guess he doesn't have any clothes on. He sits in
Oh,
the corner. He's doing himself.
that's just
Anyway, so he starts attending to Cassie. Cassie, I guess they offer him $3,000 to $4,000. So now, how you gonna get around that? You paying? He testifies that he got 3 or 4 grand many times to just come in there and have perform with Cassie. The Punisher that you see on CNN, he comes in many times. He says that he did it many times. He said he was getting paid 800, 1,200, or 2,000. He couldn't determine why he got the different amounts, but he did say one time he was, I guess, servicing Cassie so good and the vibe was so great. Did he grab the money and he threw it down on the bed and said, "I love this shit." You know what I mean? And that's the only
sickening.
time. Listen, that's the only time that Diddy paid him directly. If you listen to him, even on CNN, the problem that I have with him though is why is he allowed to go and speak on the trial while the trial's still going on CNN? I mean, they're definitely
Wow, that is
swaying.
interesting,
They're
right?
swaying. They're swaying the public. That's what they're doing. But anyway, I don't want to get into that.
Wow.
I want to stay courtroom friendly. I don't want to take anybody off.
Let's
But
take a minute. Just hold your thought. You're so awesome. This is amazing. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Go subscribe to the brother's channel. Let me ask you, with this person and this trial, his charges. Quickly tell us his official charges, and does that him paying him directly would go toward his charges, right? Or talk to us.
yeah. So
What are
his
his charges?
first charge is racketeering. Okay. So with racketeering, there's so many different things that can fall under the pattern of criminal behavior, right? So they're trying to paint. Let's say that he was doing forced labor. Okay, he was. You have all the drug activity. There's just a whole list. I think there's close to 40 things that he had to only do 2 of in the last 10 years to show a pattern that he was doing these crimes, right? Well, they're laying out so much stuff that it's just unbelievable. But if you listen to the media, they'll have you believe that it's not a racketeering. Okay, so then number 2 is sex trafficking with force, fraud, and coercion. The force we already discussed in the hotel room. The coercion is this, according to the trial. Did he sign Cassie? It was not a romantic thing. He signed her. She was with Ryan Leslie or what have you. It was a 10-album deal, 10 years. She only did 1 album. She was a model. She would also do those guest appearances to get money. After they got together in a relationship, it was no more modeling, no more
Yes.
appearances. It was freak offs once a week. Sometimes a freak off would last 4 days and have 4 different men. Like, yo, no food. And when you come off your high, you get a new high. And she said she would take ketamine. This is Cassie out of her own words, sitting there pregnant. She had the baby last week, I believe it was Wednesday.
Wow.
They announced it in court. But anyway, she would take ketamine she said that was the drug that would help her to distance herself from the freak off. But then Diddy sent her a text message saying, or email, I think it was a text saying, listen, don't do the ketamine anymore because basically you're not performing. Take a different drug. I guess he wanted her to take the ecstasy or the Molly. And, you listen to Biggie's song, right? Some say the X makes the sex spectacular, right? So that ecstasy that he's talking about in the song is in every freak off. You know what I mean? So it's just weird. Yeah.
It's really used often by a lot of people for recreation, but also we've heard the stories about the date grape. So those things are involved. But I want to ask you, can you go back to the account that you told me? I think when she first thought it was just like, hey, this is fun. The account where she said she first got him and he took her in. He said, this is what, because remember, you said she thought she was going to be getting all these record deals, but he really seemed like he had plans for her from the beginning to just be somebody, an sex worker for him. Remember, you told us a story about how she went to the underground tunnel. Was that you? That was you.
Underground tunnel?
When she stayed in the room. Okay, scratch that. Let me ask you a different way. Did she do part of her testimony when she said he took her to like, kept her in a room to like punish her, or is that not true in her testimony?
Yeah, that's not a part of I mean, it could have happened, but it's not a part of court so far.
Okay, so that didn't happen. She
but
never.
I will say, I just wanted to wrap up the point.
Yeah.
Remember, I mentioned the Biggie situation, right? Also, in Biggie's song, he mentions Frank White. Well, Frank White and Frank Black were Diddy's aliases. So whenever he stayed in these hotel rooms or had his prescription drugs, he would have the name Frank Black or Frank White. So that's the connection there. The other part I wanted to wrap up is that Cassie, it came out under cross-examination, though, that she did make other albums. I mean, over the years, she did movies, she did albums. So this is the prosecutors building this narrative, but under cross-examination throughout the years, Cassie did do some pretty good things. Although Capricorn said she wasn't a Whitney Houston, or what did they say, like a Beyonce? Oh no, Mariah. She said she was a studio artist that wasn't talented. So that came out in court. So now we
Capricorn had that opinion about Cassie.
Right.
Okay, well, what I want to know is, did Cassie say anything about him grooming her in the beginning? Because that is something I'm curious about, and I'm sure everyone else.
What happened? Cassie was in on it, and that's what we found out in court.
Really?
So I'll give it to you this way. So Ryan Leslie was with her. He introduced her to Diddy. I think you can find the video on YouTube where they actually make the introduction. So she wanted to create some space to get away from Ryan. So she created this whole event that was going down in Miami or someplace in Florida. And that's how she went there, and Diddy ended up coming. And so that's how they had their little one-on-one time together. But at some point, Diddy had her, I know it was in a bathroom, and he kissed her, and that's where they kind of started it. She was hesitant at first. So yeah, you could argue that it was a planned type of trying to mack her, as they say back in the day.
So this is early on. She was probably one of the first or second testimonies, right?
Right.
So now we're up to speed, because you've been here. I know this man is busy. He's got to have some time to wind down and get ready for his next day. You're going to be in the court tomorrow, right? You're going to be in court, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's get up to the very, very, very recent activities that took place. What took place in the last time you were in court?
All right. So the last day, basically, they're trying to impeach Mia. They're trying to say that she was lying.
Okay.
And that this is all.
No, the defense.
Yeah. And you have Brian Steele. And let me tell you something. I'm going to give you my personal touch to this thing. When Brian Steele takes that stand, when he's asking whatever he's doing, the jury loves that guy, man. They light up. And when I tell you the jury lights up, you see Young Thug all over the place. That's what you see. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, yo, I watched that trial, and now I'm right here talking to this guy every day.
Tell the people what you said about him. And I was like, Johnny Cochran, talk to me.
Yeah, he performs. Okay, so in court, when the prosecutors give their little when they're asking you your questions or what have you, they say, at a high level, did you do this or whatever? This guy performs at a high level. I mean, the way he broke down Mia, and he's saying, so Mia gave her testimony, and basically she talked about how she was violated all day Thursday.
Now, this is the assistant who said she got SA'd. Okay, we're
right
up to speed. Sorry, go ahead.
And so by the end of that day, I'm like drained, because I had to go on some channels and I couldn't even think straight. Just hearing all that, she just described it, right?
Yeah.
The next day, Brian Steele broke her down systematically. And the way he did it was he went to her social media, and he had probably 100 posts. He showed while she worked for him, Diddy. And after she was fired, she was on there basically calling Diddy like a god. Like
Wow.
every email, every text, I love you, Diddy, I love you. D-Rock, I love you. This is all she talks about, right? Now check
Who's
this out.
D-Rock? Who's D-Rock?
D-Rock was a security guard. You have 4 security guards: Rue, D-Rock, Bonds, and Uncle Paulie. So, so D-Rock is one of them, and
Mm.
she was quite fond. They were friends, I guess, what have you. But at any rate, she broke down how on Thursday she was violated, and one of the ways she was violated is she was on her knees, and Diddy came along and put his midsection to her face. And we know how the story go, right? Well,
Yeah.
guess what? Check this out. It gets real. It gets really good. On Friday, she posted on Instagram. You know, they showed Diddy took a picture where he had his hand over his crotch, and he's dressed up like maybe a pirate, but his hand is around his crotch. She posts this on her Instagram, loving Diddy so much. And they're like, and so Brian Steele's like, this guy did this to you, and you post him holding his crotch that he used against you in a
Not good.
fashionable way. You know what I
Not
mean?
good. Yeah.
Another one she did with Diddy, maybe by the help of AI or something, where Diddy's giving birth
What?
and she's getting the baby, and it says something like, "Thanks for giving birth to my dreams." I'm just speaking loosely. So he's cooking her slow roasting her all day. So all day Friday, there's like 100 posts, and then also she put together a scrapbook, and in this scrapbook, it's about Diddy's legacy. She paints him like he's a god. So
Wow. That
so
really was
um
damaging.
so here's the thing. One of the violations that happened was on Diddy's 40th birthday, according to her.
According to her.
It was in the kitchen that he violated her. So now every year she's telling Diddy happy birthday. Brian still says, wait a minute, this is not just Diddy's birthday anniversary, it's the anniversary that he violated you. Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. So you don't think about when you think about Diddy's birthday, you never think about he violated you, right? On this
Wow.
day.
How did
So
she come back from all that?
she
Was that
couldn't
everything?
because let me tell you what happened, right? Now remember I told you with her, we couldn't go online, we couldn't describe her.
Right.
Well, that night, someone, because we have these people out on the internet, they emailed Agnifilio, and they sent him a video trying to help
Who's that?
Diddy.
Who is that?
Someone random in the public sent him a video that Mia had put out on Diddy's birthday. It's kind of like if sa.neter was you were to make a video for sa.neter, and
Right.
you lined up all the guys and girls that he liked and had them do a video for sa.neter. That's
Oh, wow.
basically how she structured the video. So they sent the video. The judge says no, you can't use it. But finally on Friday, as I stayed over for the little consultation they were having after everybody was leaving court, and it seemed like they're going to allow the video, and also Brian Steele wants to impeach this witness. And
wow.
yeah, so you get the real deal. I'm bringing you guys, I'm only doing
You
this
are,
because
brother.
I support sa.neter because it's been a
Wow. This
big help to me.
information.
So.
Ooh, y'all, we got some.
It's
This
a
was
lot,
awesome.
and I'm going off of memory. I'm going strictly off of memory, and I get up every day at 3:00. I get to the courthouse at 6.
Are you allowed to? You're allowed to take notes. You do take notes.
Yeah, I take notes all day. Look at this. This
Look
is
at that.
just
Oh,
this is just this week. Look at that.
that's going to be worth a lot in the future. It's like this is the trial, I'd say, of at least the decade.
Right.
It really. Oh, I thought the Trump trial was a huge thing, but this is people are saying it's rivaling the OJ, but OJ case was there's nothing that has yet come close for me to the OJ. But hearing all this, I don't know. I might change my mind because this is some deep, very, very amazing information. I appreciate you. We're coming right up on 50 minutes, so I don't want to keep you too long, brother. I appreciate this information. I know the audience does. Please hit the like button. Please share this video. And also, please go subscribe. If the mods could just keep to repost the brother's the link to his channel. Go subscribe
So
too. Go ahead. To
Can I
Mel's
just
story.
leave you? I want to leave you with one last
Okay.
thought. I think it'll be good for this channel because I know the history of this channel, right?
Yes.
When they chose with the jury selection, there was 9 black men. They struck 7. And
Wait a
so,
minute. What?
yeah, listen now. They
And
had
we only
9
have 12 jurors.
on the jury. On the jury, we got 8 white men. 8 white men, but there were 9 black men. They struck 7. They only have 2.
What?
So the defense stood up and were saying, "Wait a minute, why are you striking? It seems like you're striking all the black men.
Yeah.
There's 6 Caucasian prosecutors, and trust me, I don't want to be on their bad side." But they stood up. One of them stood up and explained why they had to strike everybody. It had nothing to do with the color of their skin. So
Wait
it's
a minute.
it's
We
it's
might
scary.
be
It's
looking at a
scary.
mistrial if something goes on.
Well,
I'm not a mistrial.
I'm telling you,
Appeal.
listen, and I'm only going to say this because, listen, I'm in the trial every day, and I'm just
Not a
going to say,
mistrial. An appeal. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm in there every day, and I'm going to tell you, this is bigger than Diddy, right? Now, Diddy did bad things. I don't condone it. If it was my family member, he'd be in hot water, right?
Mhm.
I don't support it in any way. But on a higher level, right, you have to wonder if it affects black men on the side of the road getting stopped by police officers. Because you know what? When you give a black man $1 billion, they're going to say, look at him, Suge Knight, Bill Cosby, Diddy,
O.J.
Markel,
Simpson.
right? They say,
Michael
I'm
Jackson.
just saying there might be. I'm not a specialist, but what I'm saying, as they keep lining them up on the big level, on the high level, it affects the low level. So,
Well, I agree with you
you
on
got to
that.
think. You just
We
have to
can't
think about
ignore
it.
it. Excuse me, Mel. We're not saying, I agree with you. We can't ignore it as people in the Black consciousness community. We stand for justice first. It doesn't matter what color you are. We know there's some diabolical people of all skin folk and kinfolk. However, on a large scale, we can't close our eyes to that. So thank you for bringing that point up, Mel. Mel, I'm going to give you the full stage and let you close out and let people once again explain where you are, where they can find you. And I don't mean just on the internet. Let them know where you be every single day.
Yeah.
Mel Smith.
So every single day I'm at the courthouse. I get up early every morning. Actually, I'm going to be seeing sa.neter hopefully out there this week. That'll be awesome. But I made a commitment to follow this case because I wanted to have the truth and also share the truth. And that's what I've been doing on my channel, Watching the World 777. I put out a lot of videos showing you the crazy, the good, the bad, the ugly. But more importantly, there's a big need for the truth because one of my videos, if you go look at it, I videotaped Diddy's daughters leaving the courthouse. It's such a pleasant video to see his young daughters and also some relatives walking down the stairs. They go get in their vehicle. People online took that video and said, Diddy's daughters are escaping the courthouse. People lie about the most basic things. And so that's half the problem. There's nothing so far in this case in court about a Meek Mill or any of that. Remember the videos we heard? There's none of that in court. There's nothing in court about a party with celebrities wearing all white, all black, people going into a back room, taking drugs, when Diddy had his freak offs, one of his assistants testified. Basically, at that point, Diddy goes to do his personal business, and he would go on. That's the only time that he had some time to himself. Another one, Capricorn, I believe Clark said that, or no, it was Mia. When he did it, she would just go to her own hotel room. But he worked hard to hide his personal freak offs from people. So I'm just saying the things that we hear in the media is crazy. It's much different. So I don't want to go on all night, but thank you guys for having me on. And I'll be covering this for sa.neter whenever you guys are in Nepal when you need me. And thanks for having me on. I feel a part. Feel a part of the home team here, so I'm happy to. This is the only time people see me get excited because usually I'm just Mr. Blunt.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, guess what, Mel? When I told sa.neter, sa.neter is everything. He's got so much going on. I kept on saying, sa.neter, let's get down to the courthouse. And he's like, okay, I got this, I got that. I got to do this. And then when I said, you do know Mel is right there in New York, he said right away, what? Get him on the phone. And that's what happened today. So these two are going to link up. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see you get, and him just to sit down with you. Of all people, all the beautiful things you say about the HOK, it's all reciprocated. It's going right back. The love. sa.neter's going to be there with you. Definitely, y'all stay tuned this week. Mel and sa.neter going to link up.
In the background, I'm in a Bible scholarship program, so I bring the smoke to Nepal about the whole Bible too. But that's after the trial. I'll be back for some of that.
What? It's okay.
So this is why I really like this channel. It's such an awakening for especially our people when you have 9 Black men to be selected and they strike 7. So good night, everybody.
Wow, good night, Mel. Guys. And you know what, Mel, wait, we take the gloves off, put the Bibles and the all that down, because all of us are together in this, because yes, our channel, our background, we want to make sure that people get justice, but we also know we're watching them with their agenda. So thank you so much. It's all love. We will see you maybe tomorrow, later in the evening. Remember, you said we could possibly
8 o'clock.
do that?
We said 8 o'clock, yeah.
8 o'clock, my friend. Peace and love to you, Mel. Go check this brother's channel. You can see her. You don't have to hang.
So listen, just to mention, tomorrow at noon, I'll be on Law and Crime. So support me there. I'm all over the place. And
is that a channel? Is that a show?
Law and Crime is a big show. It's a TV show.
Oh, no, I know that channel. Look, you're going to be on Law and Crime.
Yeah, so that's tomorrow. Support me there. And then on Tuesday is sa.neter and I.
Oh, wow. Awesome, awesome. I will be looking at you on Law and Crime for sure. And we will be looking out for you tomorrow so we can hear more information. I mean, I was floored. So thank you, Mel. Have a beautiful evening. It's all love, peace, and respect. Peace and Black power. Peace to the darkest minds of the light. And peace to our brother Mel. Watching the World 777. All right, brother. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow. My friend. All right. Whoa. So everybody, let me just say this to you. This was, for me, Mel had said a little bit in the backstage, but the stuff that he shared was mind-blowing, especially the whole thing where they took the girl up in the building. Oh my God, can you imagine sitting there and your whole life depends on a lie detector test? This is too much, y'all. This is too much. So let's see what the chat's saying before I close out. Tony, thank you so much for being here. Peace to the mods, the best mods on YouTube, best mods on the Rise channel and the HOK whole network. Tahuti, I see you. Caleb, Asiatic, I see you out there. Benita. So yeah, is that y'all should try to get Gene Deal? Well, you know what I heard? Was it Gene Deal that I heard was in the hospital? I don't know. We'll try. Oh, peace to you. I see you out there, Genesis. So everybody, tomorrow we have this brother. We're so blessed. Tomorrow we're going to have him come in. We actually have someone who is corresponding with us from the courtroom and bringing us information to the HOK. So with that said, it wasn't long, but it definitely was strong. Hit the like button, subscribe so you can get the notifications, subscribe to sa.neter Studios, subscribe to House of Consciousness, subscribe to the Rise channel, Napashada, subscribe in the network, because this is where you get all the information in the House of Consciousness. You know what time it is. So with that said, I'm going to drop my bomb. And then I'm going to close out with the song. Thank you so much for joining us, people. Thank you, family. Have a great, 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 great evening. Peace, everybody. Much love.
level. So let me hear you say sa.neter, sa.neter, sa.neter. Alright then, sa.neter brings the truth. Black News 102. This is here for me and you. It's Black News 102. House of Consciousness, make sure you're logged into YouTube. Black man, hold your head up high, and black woman, you too. Me nah go apologize, love off me melanin. Forget them other guys, that's what I'm telling them. Salute the general, never fear the challenge. The God sa.neter, stay strapped with the cannon. Don't ever disrespect, so it's best you pay homage. You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge. White supremacy, education get abolished. A laptop, a pen and my pad is my college. Black man cipher, enter at your own risk. Make Europeans bow down on 125th. sa.neter got the spirit of Nat Turner. Waking up our people that's been miseducated and mass murdered. And it don't matter if you're shot in the clap burners. It's never too late to awake and progress further. As sure as the sun shines and the wind blows, there's therapy for post-traumatic slavery syndrome. sa.neter brings the truth. Black News 102. This is here for me and you. It's Black News 102. House of Consciousness, make sure you're logged into YouTube. Black man, hold your head up high, and black woman, you too.